Over the last 4 years, I left the United States, sold all my things, and traveled the world. Now I'm living in Vietnam, which I absolutely love, and still get to travel around Asia because I love this part of the world. One of the things that has helped me so much in the ability to travel the world is having a company. Having a company where I don't have to be in an office. It's a digital marketing agency, and it allows me to be anywhere in the world I want, and my clients can be anywhere in the world they want. That's helped me tremendously. Sometimes people ask me, like, how can I travel the world? How can I have all this time to go to places? And most importantly, people want to know, how do I have the money to do these things? It's kind of interesting because the United States is one of the most expensive places you can be. And so traveling the world is actually a lot less expensive than you initially think it's going to be. And you can probably live in many other countries for much cheaper than what you're living for in the United States now. So going on this journey has actually showed me how much money I can save, how much more free time I can get back, and how much further my money can go, which has been incredible. It's been an incredible journey. So I started my business in 2018, February 2018. I typed up to see some notes of how long ago that's been. It's been almost 8 years ago. When I started my business initially, I started it with two partners, a husband and wife. That did not go so well. What ended up happening with that, and some people have good partners. I didn't have that experience. But what ended up happening with that is they wanted me to sell all the clients and then also do all the fulfillment work. So we're going to do digital marketing, starting with advertising like Facebook ads. And so they wanted me to sell the accounts and then do the fulfillment work. If you're wondering the same thing as me, it's like, well, then what are you going to do? They're like, we'll handle the legal and business stuff. But really, that for me, that was like that's a minimal amount of stuff. Like literally every part of the business I'm doing here, like in my head, it's like, why do we need to do this together? But anyway, over time they started asking me like, hey, track your hours, track this, and it started feeling like I was an employee, and I'm the one selling the accounts and doing all the work, and they're getting more and more strict on me. So anyway, they actually told me that they're just going to take over the business on their own. Here, sign this agreement and you're out, right? And I was like, gosh, God, I just sold these clients stuff. Whatever. I probably could have fought or whatever, but to me, it didn't seem like anything important. It was like, all right, well, this is probably the better option because now I can go out and sell accounts on my own. And I'm still going to do the film work. I'm still the one doing it, except now all the money's mine. And I'm not splitting it with other people who aren't even doing any labor or any work. And so that was 8 years ago. And then I started my own company, which is called Massive Pockets. And it's a marketing agency. And there's been ups and downs within the company. We were a Colorado-based company. Since we started, I was in Colorado at that time. And some ups were right away building the business so quickly and hiring people and bringing people into an office and also all working together in like a co-working space. And it felt great to have a team. We were working with a lot of local businesses. So small businesses that have people come into their shop or their local, even a restaurant, like whatever. When COVID hit, no one was spending money on marketing. Why would you? All the businesses shut down anyway. And so my revenue also went to nearly zero. Because of that, I tried to figure out what to do. I couldn't. I moved out of Denver to New Orleans and tried to figure out how to make money. It wasn't working. I switched the company over to do e-commerce work. And if you're not familiar, that's just the sales of products online. So rather than a physical location of a shop where people are coming in or like a restaurant, it's something where someone goes online and purchases whatever, gym equipment, shoes, furniture, or mats for the home. The reason I say that is one of our most successful clients was a company that sold mats, doormats, kitchen mats, whatever it might be. They very successful. Just to share a bit of that, they were making less than $6,000 a month when we started working together, 6,000 USD a month. And by the time we stopped working together, I think they were making somewhere around 80,000 a month of sales. So we really helped that company. So I saw that there was a lot more money in e-commerce, and our business could grow even more. But at that time, I was still in New Orleans, and I was learning ways to get out of this funk that I was in, and I realized I needed more money. Sometimes when you're broke, your mindset's not in a good place. And so as I'm sharing, I had these major ups, major downs. And this client, I'm giving this example, but it took a long time to grow that revenue. And the amount that they paid us grew slowly with that. So it wasn't like instantly overnight. They were making more money than I was. So I was also trying to get new clients. Uh, that same person, mentioned this example before, but that same person told me that I should go to Costa Rica and like leave the States for a little bit and just go experience some more of the world. And Costa Rica is the same time zone as the States. So he actually supported me in many ways, in many ways to explore a little bit and leave New Orleans and have my business support me on that journey. He's like, you got the business, you can do it from anywhere. And so that really helped. And he was right. I am very, very thankful that I had the business. Let's see, COVID hit in maybe 2020 ish, I think. So I had the business for a couple years before COVID hit. And so it at least gave me something to work on. I will say though, during COVID, I was like, coming out of COVID, I was like, actually get a job at a coffee shop. Like, oh, Starbucks. If I get a job at Starbucks, I'll get free coffee. I was so close to getting some other job. I would have driven for Uber, but I had a 2-door car, and Uber in New Orleans didn't have the ability to drive 2-door cars. So I'm like, I can't do that. I need to make extra money. Eventually, I convinced myself rather than go do something else that pulls at my time, and more than just pulling at your time, it also exhausts you. Because some people are like, oh, I can go do that thing, and then afterwards I'll work my business. Well, don't forget you're going to be more exhausted than if you would just work on your business. So, I'm going to go work somewhere else 6 hours a day. Well, Michael, why don't you work on your business 6 hours a day? And so I just did that instead. And so my business started growing again. And then I decided eventually to make a test, go out of the States for a bit. And I made a whole video of like traveling out of the States, but I'll just say that leaving was so helpful for my mindset and just helped me realize like how much cheaper things are. But the biggest example in my head is when I was in Costa Rica in a beach town next to the beach, I could just go for a quick walk, get this fresh sandwich and fresh mango juice, the whole thing for like $6. And it was so fresh. The reason I say fresh is because in the States, maybe you'll pay like 15, $20 for some like sandwich and a drink, and it's not even that great. That's a huge price difference of something that's really good and fresh and something that's not. Personally, for me, I don't really cook or anything like that. So it's great to have really good and healthy food that you can get for a good price. Any of these experiences that I left the States showed me more and more how wonderful life is. And I realized I'm on my own traveling, that if I want to live this life, I have to earn money. I have to earn what I need to support this. Of course, anywhere in life you need to have that thought, but also I was having the thought of, I guess I didn't hit yet. At that time, I was still wanting to make more and more, because now I'm at the mindset of I don't have to make a lot of money. Like I have enough money. I've also read a book that really helped me think this way, but at that time I didn't. So I was striving, which, it did lead me to make the most money per month that I've ever made as I was on this journey to strive and strive. And so as I was saving money by going to cheaper places, I was also happier. So I was spending more time on sales or with clients and just happier when I did the work. And so the company's revenue just kept going up. And yeah, that was great. Fast forward until I got to this side of the world, into Asia, and I was starting to feel a little bit more like things didn't cost that much. I didn't really need that much money. I was so stressed out because the more money you make, sometimes you are stressed out. Not always, but the way I was building the company, it probably wasn't the best way to not have me hold on to a lot of stress because I was. And so I decided not to take on new clients, and that was actually for sorry, I'm a little sick, or like my nose is stuffed up. So I decided not to take on new clients. That was actually for years. We did not really take on new clients unless it was a direct referral or a friend who wanted to work with us. And I have, we have, the company has just came out of that time. So 8 years we've had the company. I'm just going to repeat that a little bit, but 8 years we've had the company, 2 years, massive growth, a huge drop. And then coming out of it, growing the company back to a point where it has never reached previously, helped a lot of stress there. And then did not work on the company as much. And it could have been 2 or 3 years because as I've been traveling, yeah, probably the first year of traveling, I grew it a lot, reached the largest months of the business growth, and then realized that's stressful and I don't need that much money. You know, I just want to do good work, maintain the clients I have, and live a good life. And so it's probably been 2 years, maybe 3 years that we haven't really taken on new clients. I'm sure it's at least been two. And just recently, some thoughts are like, you know what? Would be nice to have a little bit more money. Right. I mean, who wouldn't say like it'd be nice to have a little bit more money? And also, I feel confident and comfortable in the ability to take on more work. Because at times when like I'm traveling the world and seeing all these different things, I'm not confident in the ability that we can really sit there and focus on somebody who needs the support. And so now I'm actually living in one spot and just going to the gym. Like, I got my own routine. So now it's like, okay, well, I got the time. We got the time to do this. And so it's crazy. The actual reason I recorded this video is I wanted to talk about something that was meaningful to me around the business. And it seems like I've just given you a lot of background on the company. Hopefully you found that interesting. But the company has always been a Colorado-based company. I shared with you 8 years ago, it started in Colorado. So that's always felt like where the business is. But I've been living outside of Colorado for quite some time, which means I still have to pay taxes there. As I'm an American, I'll have to always pay United States taxes. But in Colorado, I also have to pay state taxes. And so I've learned that some states, some areas, you don't have to do that. For example, Wyoming. Wyoming is one of the best places to have a digital business because you don't pay state taxes. So it's very easy for someone to even live abroad and have it. So there's been some massive changes, and the company has now moved to Wyoming. Just wanted to share it because it just feels like a interesting, and it's just part of my life. It feels interesting to me. It feels a little bit weird. I've not wanted to do it just for a feeling, just because, I don't know. But like if I really look at it and get down to it, as far as state taxes, go, I could be saving thousands of dollars a year, right? It's like, forget the feeling. Go with something that really makes sense and saves money, because that thousands of dollars a year is like adding months onto my life, because the cost of living here in Vietnam is not that expensive. That adds months onto life. And if the company grows a lot, then it'll be saving even more than that. So it just seems like the right time to move the company from being a Colorado company to a Wyoming company. Those are my thoughts for this video. If you have any thoughts on anything, whether it's about traveling or having a business, feel free to ask. I really understand like how many people over the years have asked me like, how do you travel like that much? How is that even possible? And most of the time they were alluding to like, how do you have the money for it, right? Like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how do you have the money? And so now you realize how that existed. And for anyone else wanting to travel or spend a lot of time doing that, I feel like it's possible for anyone. There's such a way. And even if it's not your own company, it's like freelancing. You can always do work. There's always work that needs to be done, and you can travel the world and do it. And in fact, you need a lot less money to do that than you need to live in the United States. See you next time.